The stage to Pau was always set to be a nervous one for the GC contenders, always fast and aggressive because crosswinds were in the forecast and it didn't let us down. Let's take a look early in the race where the first break that went off the front in a crosswind section as the attacks were in full swing. A big group got off the front, including Mathieu van der Poel, but very, very importantly for GC, this man right here, Adam Yates, going into today, 7th overall at 6 minutes 59. That is not the sort of man that the other GC contenders can let just ride up the road. Teammate of Tadej Pogacar. He's the only one who was happy to see him ride away. So the chase was quite intense further back in the field to not let this group get away. And Jumbo-Visma in particular put a lot of energy in trying to go across the gap, organise the chase behind, also from Ineos Grenadiers. So that group eventually, after a lot of kilometres, got neutralised and brought back together. But the signs were already there that the rest of the day was no opportunity to sit up and just lose concentration because it was just going to happen again. 55 kilometres to go, exactly that happened. An open, exposed section, but all the race favourites, they were right on it. Remco Evenepoel and Tadej Pogacar, they were prepared to put a lot of energy into trying to split the race up, make things difficult, but just hovering further back was Jonas Vingegaard. He hadn't missed the move. So all the pre-race favourites were in this group, all represented, but it did serve to thin the peloton out even more. And one thing became clear with this really aggressive racing is that there were going to be riders going overboard. There were going to be sprinters missing to contest the finish in Pau, and there were maybe half of the pure sprinters in this race that made this final move and would contest the stage victory. So as we go on to see who would actually be in it to win it in the streets of Pau, very select group. And as they come into the final few hundred metres, you can see here, top of the picture, a very small group that's left over. There was a crash just a couple of hundred metres before that, which split what was left of the field. But in any case, the favoured sprinters without Arnaud Delis, who was caught in that crash, they would be there to fight it out. Now, it was Christophe Laporte who was on the front, just here, with Wout Van Aert in his wheel. That's 350 metres to go that Christophe Laporte has thought to himself, that's enough, I'm done, I'm going to swing across and get out of the way. That has only left Wout Van Aert stranded on the front. So Van Aert now, still seated, not prepared to go, but at the same time, further back, Jasper Philipsen, he was worried about getting boxed in, not getting his run. He started to make an acceleration to hit the front at 250 metres to go. The interesting thing to me is, well, there's a lot of interesting things, but particularly Laporte swinging out of the way of Van Aert, leaving him sitting high and dry, really, on the front with so many riders ready to run out of the slipstream and over the top. He's trying to maintain a position at the front without going full sprint yet because 300 to go is just too far. But Jasper Philipsen, he comes around. This interesting part is Philipsen coming by, to my eye, riding about 90% capacity from 300 through to 200, where he really opens up and gives it everything. Wout van Aert was able to get back in the wheel of Philipsen and then try and make a run at him out of the slipstream, but he then ran out of road. So Philipsen rode not only a clever sprint, but a very brave one to go from as far as he did. So let's take a look from the overhead. We can see this is Christophe Laporte. In his wheel, Van Aert. Then it's Nikias Arndt from Bahrain victorious. Jasper Philipsen is back here and he starts to feel the riders behind him, they want to start making a run. He's worried about getting boxed in, so he's not going to let that happen. So he starts to ease his way forward. He's about to get out of the saddle and go up on the left-hand side. He's got the rider in blue from Groupama next to him. Now, this is where he overtakes Van Aert, who was, you could see it, hesitating, too far to go with 300 metres. Philipsen comes around. Eventually, Van Aert picks up the slipstream. We're now 100 metres to go when Van Aert feels, I can make a run at him. It's just too little too late. He gets to the back wheel of Philipsen, who quite easily, in the end it looked, takes his second stage win in this race. Biniam Gourmet caught a little bit further back in that group behind Van Aert. So Jasper Philipsen, a really clever but equally bold move to come around everybody. And Philipsen gets on the podium in Pau.